The day I saw my name inside a police file, I knew something was very wrong. Because I had never done anything illegal, not even close. No fights, no trouble, no bad record. I was the kind of person who avoided problems. So when I saw it, my name printed clearly inside an official police file, my mind couldn't process it. It started like a normal day. Nothing special, nothing unusual, just another routine morning. Until I got a call. Unknown number. At first, I ignored it, but it kept ringing, again and again. Something about it felt urgent, so I picked up. Hello? Silence. Then a voice. Calm. Cold. You need to come to the station. My heart skipped. What? Why? Pause. Then the words that changed everything. There's something you need to see. Click. The call ended. No explanation, no details, just that. And somehow, that was enough to make me uneasy. Very uneasy. I stood there for a moment, thinking, should I go or ignore it? Because I knew one thing. Nothing good ever comes from a call like that. But curiosity is dangerous. So I went. The police station felt different that day. Colder, heavier, like I didn't belong there, like I wasn't supposed to be there. I walked in slowly. Every step felt louder, every sound felt sharper. And then, someone called my name. Come with me. No smile, no explanation, just serious. I followed him, down a long hallway, into a room, small, quiet, uncomfortable. He placed a file on the table, looked at me, and said, "You should see this yourself." Then he left. Just like that. Now it was just me and the file. I stared at it for a few seconds. Then slowly, I opened it. First page, nothing strange, basic information. Second page, details, still normal. Then I turned the page, and everything stopped. My name, right there, highlighted, connected to something I had no memory of, no understanding of, no involvement in. My hands started shaking, because whatever this was, it wasn't small. And the worst part? There were photos. Blurry, dark, but clear enough. And one of them looked like me. That's when fear hit. Real fear. Because I knew something terrifying. Either someone set me up, or I was part of something I didn't remember. And both options were equally dangerous. I kept staring at the file, not blinking, not moving, just staring. Because the more I looked at it, the less it made sense. My name, my face, my identity, connected to something I didn't remember. Something I couldn't explain, something I couldn't escape. My hands felt cold, heavy, like they didn't belong to me anymore. I flipped another page, slowly, carefully, almost like I was afraid of what I might see next. More dates, more locations, more evidence, everything detailed, everything precise. This wasn't random. This wasn't a mistake. This was organized, planned, and somehow perfect. Too perfect. That's what scared me the most, because mistakes leave gaps, but this had no gaps. Everything connected, everything aligned, and at the center of it was me, or at least someone who looked exactly like me. I picked up one of the photos again, held it closer, trying to find something, anything that proved it wasn't me, a difference, a mistake, a flaw. But there was nothing. Same posture, same body language, same presence. It wasn't just similar. It was identical. And that's when the doubt started creeping in. Not about the file, not about the police, but about myself. What if I'm wrong? What if I don't remember everything? What if something happened and I forgot? That thought was more terrifying than anything else, because it meant one thing. I couldn't trust my own mind. And once that happens, everything falls apart. Every memory becomes questionable. Every moment becomes uncertain. Every version of yourself becomes a possibility. And I hated that feeling, because I had always trusted myself, my memory, my past, my identity. But now, everything felt unstable, like it could collapse at any moment. And then the door opened. The officer walked in again. Same calm expression, same controlled tone. But this time, there was something different. He was watching me more carefully, studying me, like he was waiting for something to change. "You're quiet." I didn't respond because I didn't know what to say. How do you explain something you don't understand yourself? He sat down slowly, across from me, maintaining eye contact. "You recognize something?" Not a question, a statement. I shook my head. "No." But my voice wasn't convincing, not even to me, because part of me wasn't sure anymore. And he noticed that. Of course he did. "That's interesting." He leaned forward slightly. "Because whoever this is," he tapped the photo again, "they've been using your identity for months." Months. That word echoed in my head. Months. This wasn't recent. This wasn't random. This was consistent, repeated, deliberate. And somehow, I had no idea. How is that even possible? How does someone live your life without you knowing? Unless they don't need to hide. That thought hit hard because it meant something worse. What if they weren't pretending to be me? What if they were me? No, that didn't make sense. That couldn't be true. But the evidence didn't lie. And that's what made it dangerous. Because facts don't care about your memory. Facts don't care about what you believe. Facts just exist. And right now, the facts were against me. And for the first time, I felt something I had never felt before. Fear of myself. I leaned back in the chair, slowly, carefully, like if I moved too fast, everything would break. Because at that moment, I wasn't just confused. I was lost. Completely lost. Not just in the situation, but in myself. Who was I? That question suddenly felt real, dangerously real, because if the file was correct, then my entire identity was incomplete. And if my identity was incomplete, then everything I believed about myself was a lie. And that's when the officer spoke again. "There's something else." Those words felt heavy, like whatever was coming next was worse. Way worse. He placed another file on the table, thicker, darker, more serious. I looked at it, didn't touch it immediately, because I knew, once I opened it, there was no going back. But I opened it anyway, slowly. First page. Medical report. Old. Very old. Years old. Before I could even remember clearly, I turned the page. More records. More notes. More details. And then I saw it. One line. Highlighted. Clear. Impossible to ignore. Subject shows signs of memory alteration. Everything stopped. My thoughts, my breathing, my understanding of reality. Memory? Alteration? What did that even mean? I looked up slowly. The officer was watching me, closely, like he was waiting for this moment. You didn't know? Not a question, a statement. And I didn't respond, because I couldn't. Because everything was collapsing. My past, my memories, my identity. Nothing felt real anymore. And then he said it. Years ago, you were involved in an incident. My heart slowed down, not faster, slower, like it was trying to process something too big. A serious incident. Pause. You weren't supposed to survive it. Silence. Heavy. Unreal. But you did. I felt disconnected, like I was hearing someone else's story, not mine. And after that, he leaned forward. Your memory was altered. That moment destroyed everything. Because suddenly, everything made sense. The missing memories, the confusion, the feeling that something was always off. It wasn't imagination. It wasn't overthinking. It was real. I was missing parts of my life, and someone had removed them. On purpose. And now, those missing pieces were coming back. Through evidence, through records, through truth. And the worst part? Someone knew. Someone had access to that version of me, and they were using it. Not to expose me, but to control the situation. Because if I didn't even know my past, how could I defend myself? And that's when I realized something terrifying. I wasn't just part of this story. I was the key to it. And whatever happened back then wasn't over. It was coming back. Now. And this time, I wouldn't be protected. Because the truth doesn't stay buried forever. It waits. And when it comes back, it doesn't ask permission.